Hey everybody. All right. So yesterday we were talking about Next.js and some of the things we could do with Next.js. I'm going to continue down that path and I want to talk about Sass and SCSS and how to get that set up and show you some minor things in regards to some of the issues I encountered setting this up. So let's get into it. Let's see if all this is still working. Yep, this is great. So if you come here and I will go into the code. All right, so now I'm in the code. Let me see, I can do this here and this can come right there. Great. Okay, so in here, this is Next.js and I'll get a directory. So I currently created this using, I think it was npx create, yeah, right? So I created Next App at latest startups and I went through that whole process. I did that yesterday on the daily. So what that did was create a subdirectory. I want to show you something that was actually kind of interesting. So if I do code dot, it will actually load this, but it'll load it from the current directory that I'm on. I've set up VS Code so we can actually do that, which is really kind of cool. Huge fan of that. But notice I'm getting an error here, right? Cannot find module next Babel. Ta-da. Did it do the mouse thing? Yeah. All right, so that is because I am not running this from the root of this. I'm actually one level up, right? Remember I created this wonderful README yesterday? So today I am running at the wrong level. So after you create your Next.js application, you want to actually uh, run VS Code from that location. So to do that, it's actually really simple. I already have it up and running, but you would go into that directory, right? So, CD startups, right? And I would actually run it right from here. And if I run it right from here, and I'm just going to exit so you can see, if I run it right from there, am I in it? See, this should still give me the same error. So if I go into page, you should see, yeah, there's the import error, right? And I will close this one. And now I'm actually at startups, right? So I am in CD startups. Let's just show. So if I exit this and I reopen, it starts right here. And now you can see that I don't get that error anymore. All that is the Next.js, this file actually needs to be at the root level of your application of what you're doing here. Otherwise, it can't find everything and include your modules correctly. But today, that was just one minor issue that I was like, I hate red lines and I want to make sure that everything's working with no errors, right? So let me do npm run dev so you can actually see the application. And now that this is running on localhost and I go into Chrome and I will refresh this, shouldn't need to refresh because it's a hot reload, right? And I'll move this over just so we can go back to that. If I go into docs, let's find docs, find docs, right. And there's that. And I will move this a little bit over so we can actually see real time. Great. So now you can see docs and you can see this. Just wanted to make sure. Great. So if I come here and I change this to JM and save, real-time refresh, you can actually see it doing it in milliseconds. Great. So now we see that. One of the things I want to show is using Sass. I had talked about that yesterday of if I'm going to do CSS, I'm going to use Sass. I won't touch CSS without it now. I'll figure out a way to do it. So you're going to laugh how easy it is to set up Sass with Next.js. It's really, really easy. I'm going to stop this server right now. So now that the server stopped, I am going to go into, and I'll use the page modules. So this is currently a CSS file, right? So I am going to change the name of it. So I'm going to change the name of this to SCSS. That's all I did. I haven't done anything else. And the first error I'm going to get is it can't find a file. So if I do npm run dev and it says it's ready, and if I refresh this, it should give me, yeah, it can't find this, right? Just want to make sure you can see that. So you can't find it, right? Super easy to fix. It's because in here, I'm including the old version. So let me change that to SCSS and I'll save it. And now this actually loaded, but it shouldn't have. I wonder if I didn't delete it because I was playing with it earlier. Yeah, it's already installed. So let me delete this. All right. So now if I refresh this, Control C, boom, run dev, come here, refresh. Great. So now built-in Sass support. So it's not installed. This is what happens when you set up Next.js from scratch. So this is really that easy to install. It says npm. It even tells you exactly what you need to do. All right, so let's stop our development server. And now I'm going to do npm install SASS. Done. npm run dev. And now I run this. I come back here. And everything's been resolved. Ta-da! It's really that easy. And everyone's like, oh, well, what did that actually gain you? I'm going to show you the easiest thing that it gained me is one, I want to do this one too. So now all of my files should be SCSS. So now this one isn't being found. So I have to go in the layout and change this to S. And now we're back to normal, right? The really, here, and I'll show you another thing. If I try to add a top level uh, tag here, and what I mean by a top level tag is not a class, not an ID, but an actual tag. So let's take a look. So if I come here and I'm going to inspect this, and in here you can see that this is an H2, right? This H2 is docs and it doesn't have any ID, any tag. So great, I just want to change the color of that H2. So I'm going to put H2 right here and I'm going to say background color red because it's horrible, and then color green. Right, little Christmas. So now I'm going to save it and it's going to give me an error. H2 is not pure. Pure selectors must contain at least one local class or ID. It actually even tells me exactly what the problem is, right? So you're like, oh, well, what does that mean? Well, if I'm going to do something that it's at that top level, I want to actually do that top level at the top level. So what file do you think I need to go to? The global, right? So I can take this exact thing and I'll remove it and this automatically got fixed. But I still want to have these in red and green. So I come here, which is at the global, and I can literally add that tag right here and I'll save it. And then everything shows up without a problem, no errors, everything's wonderful. Why? Because it is a top level tag and it's at the top level and it's at the global SCSS and it's part of the layout. And next actually goes, hey, you're going to do this the right way, do it the right way, which is really cool. But now, because it's an SCS file, let me do a border because I want to. Border radius 10px, save. And then let's add a little padding. Padding 3px. Great. So now what's really cool about this is if I want to do a hierarchy and I do a hover and I'll do the background color of blue and color white. Now, if I come here and I hover, so I didn't have to actually write another tag that would be h2 colon hover, right? And do all of that. With SCSS, I can actually have all of this cascading, right? And it's a true hierarchy, right? So let's come back here. I come here, I'll inspect it. I want to see what the next one is. I think there's a span in here. Oh, great. This is a great example. So let's say I want this span inside the H2 to be a different color, right? So let's reverse it. So then we'll make it easy. H2 hover, that's all good. But if I want to do a span, and I will do, here, I'm just going to copy this because I'm lazy and paste that there. And now you can see that now all changed. Ta-da. It's interesting that it's a different, now that one worked. Yeah, something's wrong with the YouTube specifically. It's really interesting. Oh, it's because it's highlighted. Sorry. It's because I selected everything. Yeah, that's why. I was like, why is that doing it? It's because it was selected. I did a Command A. Anyway, so you can see now that this is happening here. But if I add, and let's come back to the page. If I come back to the page and I add, oh, we already have. So let's add a span getting started. See the getting started up here? I'm going to add a span inside of that. And we'll do morning, right? So now that got added, but it doesn't have the blue background. It is because when I come back to this, whoops, here. It's because this span must be inside of an H2. So it's actually building out the CSS that will say, oh, this is inside this. And all I have to do is write it once in an SCSS file. And then as it gets transpiled, compiled, whatever, I think it's called transpiling, it will actually create everything else for you. Really cool. So those are the errors that you wanted to fix, and those are the easy ways to do it. So this is where you do top level in your global. If I want to get rid of all of this and do it with class names, which I highly recommend you use class names for everything, I can put this here. We're going to get that error again, right? Because it's a pure selector, right? But we'll do h2 dot card, card title. So that'll be good. And then we'll do span dot arrow because that's literally what it is. So now all of that is working, but none of this got applied. Why? Because I gave it a class and nothing has that class. So let's come back to the H2 and I'll do it on just one of them. Where's my H2? Docs. So in docs, I'll do, whoops, class name equals card. And now, oh, card title, sorry. Card title, H2, class name, card title, docs. And then I come here, class name, H2, cart title. Let's see. Save. Great. It is not working. Let's see why. Oh, because you can't. You have to actually use the reference, right? So I talked about this yesterday. So I'm importing styles from this. So therefore I need to actually use that object of styles as I do that. So in this case, this class name will be uh, where's docs? YouTube docs right here. So class name, and I need to do styles card title. So now everything's working. Even the hover state, right? And you can see the arrow is actually having a little hover state too, which is great. So let's go back to here. And if I move, oh, you see why this is not blue? Because this is the hover state of everything. Why is this not blue? Because this span hasn't been applied to that arrow, which is right here. So if I give this a class name and I use styles.arrow and I save it, now it's blue. Right? And I would have to do that for each one of these, for each H2 right here, and give it a class name for each one of this. And what I'm doing is including the styles from here, which is the object. And as I go down here, everything else is good. Ta-da! That's kind of easy. That was fun. And now you understand how easy it is to implement SCSS inside this, and that you need to actually be developing at your level in VS Code. Love the hot swappable. I like the refresh is just amazing on this. It's so nice. And I'm gonna move this all the way over. And let's see, make sure you can still see it. Yep. I'm gonna close that. I'm gonna look at this, and then if I change any of these, here we'll do red, FF0000 like that, and that is the same color. If I do this, different color. And what's really fun is you can actually select the color this way, and it'll. So let's find a color I like. We'll go with that, and save. Great. Now let's change this color into something probably lighter than that, something like that. Done. And I'll save it. Ta-da! And the hover state still will be the same, right? I don't like the span arrow being a different color, at least not the background, so let's do that. And now it's simple. It's super easy. And you can start playing with all of these things. You can play with the border. You can play with the radius, right? Make it bigger. Um, border radius 20, right? I probably want bigger padding than that. So let's do 6 just to make it a little not claustrophobic. And the other thing you can do, let's see. Oh, let's actually give it a real border. So if I do border none, which it currently doesn't have a border, but if I do border solid 1 pit here, we'll do that. I don't like that color. Let's do a different color. FFDACB. Right? And there's a slight border. And all of this is front end stuff, and this is all CSS. Even though I'm using Sass, it's still plain CSS. What I can do is I can do, let's see, variable. I forgot how to do it. Let's figure it out together. Oh, you know how to do that. If I come here, we're going to figure it out. I just don't know it off the top of my head. Variables, SCSS. Variables. Just a $sign. Okay, great. So let's do that. So I want to make sure everything's visible. Great. So I'm going to add a variable, and we'll do, let's do something fun. Card color, right? And now I would put that card color right there. And let's make sure that, what? Oh, if you're doing variables, same concept. Variables need to be at the global. And let me come back here and save that. Background color undefined. There's my card color. Root. We'll do card border color. What was the border color that I had? This one. So let's copy that, put that in here. There. All right. So now undefined variable. And that is because this doesn't have the variable. So what I actually would do, and I'm going to show you, is in here where I have this, I'm going to create a new file and I'm going to call it variables.scss. And then in the globals where I define those two variables, I'm going to pull those out and I'm going to put those in that new variables, right? And in this one, I'm going to import variables. And that's not right. Import. Let's see. Let's do it together. So import variables, SCSS. Let's add import. I have to phase it out of there and eventually prefer use. So let's see what it says. Foundation, import rules, blah, blah, blah. Heads up, Sass discourages it. Prefer that you use the use rule. Great, let's do the use. All right, so in this foundation list SCSS, simplest use rule is use with the URL. Great. So I will do this and I'll do add use and I will do variables SCSS and that. And it is called variables.scss. And let's come back and let's see what's happening. Import trace, requested module, background color, undefined variable, and page module. Oh, let's keep that open. So I come back here. That's now saved. Card color, variables.scss. Card color, great. Root style sheet. All right, so we're going to figure this out together, why I can't. Foundation code. Does it have to be an underscore? Shouldn't, but we're gonna try it. And then this is good. This is good. And that should be fine. I'm going to close this so I can see. And this is still failing. Undefined variable. But if I define it here, card color, that's interesting. Yeah, say, let's go back here. So card color and called card border color. Where did I do it? Page module. Yeah, card color. I think it's because it's using the variables in the other way. Yeah, you see how it does this right here? Let's see. And let's go back to global. Yeah, that's how it's defining all of those. Yeah, I don't like that. Like, what's the error it's having? Expected SCSS. Yeah, curly expected. So if I do that right, and I put those in here, and then I come back here and I do it the way they're asking for it, or, and let's see if that showed up. Card color, background color, YouTube, great. And then we want border color, var dot dot. Oh, I forgot the name of it. Card border color. Border color. And let's see if that's working. It doesn't look like it is. Then I go into here. And it is card title. Great. So here, what if I just change it? Oh, interesting. H2 card title, background color red. Now that's not working at all. Oh, man. Let's see. Compiling. Retrying, compile. So, wow. Okay. So I've made those changes, right? But it's still not showing it. So, and we just did it. And it's called card title. This is hysterical. All right, so this is development in its purest form. It's sad that I get excited about this. So what I've done here, and I'm saving this, reload, H2 card title. So if I go into page and I do this, and it is card title, right? Is there anything included here? Nope, everything's great. Everything's still the same. So now I'm actually here and I have a color of RGB. Um, all of that is good. There are no more variables being used. So what you're seeing right now is exactly what I did originally. And I want to make sure there's nothing in here that's overriding it, and there isn't. So everything is good there. That's been saved. That's importing that one. That's correct. And this is importing styles. So now this style that I do have applied, just want to clarify that. Where's docs, right? I do have a style called card title, and I do have this right here. And it's not working because of this little text right here. If I delete that and save, it works. Didn't tell me I had the error. I had a syntax error. Um, very frustrating when you're starting to do things like that. So now that I have one variable, let's see if I can get that variable to work. So I'm going to copy the red, and I am going to make this a variable of card color. We'll just do that. Great. So now if I define it up here, card color, I want it to be red. Red. Great. There. So now I'm using a variable inside of this. So now by using a variable inside of this, and I much prefer use variables like this, that means it will only be scoped and only be available in this CSS. So now let's play with the border again, and we'll do border solid 1px, and we'll do that RGB. Why not? Great, that looks perfect. But now I want this to be a variable, so let's do that. So I copy this, and I will do card border color. And now card border color. Great. And now let's change this to something fun. I don't know, something like that. Yeah, perfect. Great. And then I can even change uh, card color, card text color. Um, we'll keep it white. But now I've defined it, but I'm not using it. So let's come down here, and I can use this for all of these. And then this one, boom. So now they're all the same and everything looks great. Ta-da. That's one way to do variables. And if you look at the globals, you're going to see a bunch of things like this, right? Max width. If I change it to this, oops, max width, and I save. You see how that jumped? Because it's using this as the variable. That's a whole different discussion, and maybe I'll do that one tomorrow. And you can see down here, you see how it says max width this? Let's find all the max widths that's using it as a variable. So it's using it in description, grid, and that's it. So those are the only two. So if I change this and do max width, and then I change this one to max width, right? It's going to give an error because I haven't defined it, right? So I need to actually update that variable. And all I have to do is do this. And now max width is now 1100. But I would not put it there. I would put it right here. And it's still failing. Why is it still failing? Because it doesn't know how to get access to this. So it needs to be here. And everything's back to normal. So one of the things that's actually kind of cool about doing it this way is the way it's actually inheriting this. So this is actually being part of all of this as part of the root, right? So it's part of root, as you can see up here. And in here, you have max width. So if I could take all of this out, errors, and then let's go back to here and put that back. And now we're all happy. And then I come back here and I do, and it was saying to use the use, so that's fine. We'll use variables at SCSS. Undefined variables SCSS max width. Yeah, I like import. Import. Yeah. I don't know what that uses. I'll have to look into that. That's new to me. It's saying you should be able to use it. So loading members, mix in. Yeah, it says use. So what if I get rid of that? Can I just use this? Use. Yeah, it doesn't work. So their recommendation just doesn't work. Um, it is here. It is definitely. I wonder if I have to do source slash app. And do I need to do this? And if I do import, yeah, import works fine. Because use adds namespace to member name safety, very simple radius or width. This is different from the old import rule. Sorry, you probably can't see that. This is different from the old import rule, which encouraged that users write long names like mat, corner, radius to avoid conflicts, and it helps keep your style sheets clean and easy to read. So what's happening now by using the use, it actually does name spacing to members' names, which is really interesting. So in this case, because I'm using a mix-in rounded, it actually is creating corners dot rounded because it is namespacing this variable to here. So I think the use does work, but that means I have to use the generated namespace for these. So if I import it like this, then I have to use that namespace, which is great. So let's figure out how to do the use since that's the new way to do it. Use, and we'll use variables, and now it should give me an error over here. Great. And then we'll do it as v. So still errors, right? Just to show you, still erroring. And it's because I need to actually use, is it v dot? I wonder if it's like that. No, it's got to be v dot. Yeah, that fixed it. All right, so then find max width, $ max width, v dot. Yep. And then because I have all these other variables here, I'm going to do v dot p dot, and then all of these need to be namespaced. And we're back to normal. Yay! You watch real-time debugging. So much fun. So as you can see here, the hover state's still working, the border is still there, all of that is now working. I have actually created a variable file here. So let me move this over so you can see the real-time edits. So if I change this color to here and I save it, automatic update using a variable from an external file. Now let's talk about structure real quick and then I'm going to go. So we have source and we have app here. One of the things I really like to do is I will do a new folder and I will call it styles. And then in that styles, I would actually put my styles. And now everything's going to fail, of course, right? Because it doesn't know where to find those files. So let's start with the first one. And this is going to dot, but really we want dot dot styles global SCSS. So that one should be fixed. And then I come here and same thing. So this is going to be dot dot styles slash, and I forgot that it's page modules SCSS. Great. Dot 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 dot. There we go. So then as you look in here, this has the actual code, and this, all my styles are in a different folder. Structure is important. Naming conventions are the hardest things to do in computer science. I will stand by that. And this gets you started on setting this up. And this is just a basic Next.js site. Super easy, super cool. Here's one thing I want to show. I was playing with different glows. So watch, if I remove this glow here, actually I want to remove the filter. There's a filter. Let's find out where that is. Primary glow. I think it's this. You see how that changed the entire layout over here? It's kind of funny. And now it's back. But this cone gradient is actually really, really fun. So if I remove the secondary glow, you're going to see it. That's not it. It's the secondary glow down here. Media, prefer color, dark scheme. This one. So if I get rid of this, ta-da! It's a different one, right? And it's because I'm in a dark mode, right? If I change this to light, it's going to use the other one. And there's a lot you can do with media queries and Dart themes, and CSS has come so far. So what if I do color scheme light, right? So everything's now light. Let's put that back because who likes that? All right. That's all I want to talk about today. This is enough. Today we set up Sass, we installed it, we showed you some basic debugging, we showed you how to set up variables. I'm probably going to do more talking about this moving forward, but I have some cool ideas, especially about overlays. So I want to show you some of the overlays that I've been playing with in OBS. Let's see. Does this still work? There I am. Yay. Okay, so this is still working. But I have another overlay that I was playing with, which I got from, I forget what the name of the website is, but regardless. So I'll show you real quick. That one's fun. That's me playing with the code and some of the other stuff. Oh, Own. There it is. That was the name of it. Really cool website, but it taught me how to actually set up all of this, which is kind of fun. And here's another starting. As you can see, those are actually fun. Sorry, you probably didn't hear anything because I didn't have a mic set up on those. Let me do that. So let me go back to here, and then add source. And now you can hear me again. And this is the name of the website. And what this is doing, it doesn't matter, it's audio. I can actually move this around and do positioning and get this. But like a lot of people will use this for gaming. So I'll have this animated background, I'll have this, um, and the live chat right here, which is kind of fun. But the thing that's really cool about this is it's layered and there's a background and there's actually a foreground. And if I turn off one or the other, there's the foreground that's been removed, right? So now you get to see all of those wonderful overlays. If I hide the background, right? But once you understand that, I think, and I haven't confirmed this, that you can do all of this using CSS. And then you can set up your own and customize it and do all these wonderful magical things. Really love the animated background that they set up though. Anyway, that's all I had for today. Covered a little bit more in Next.js than I planned on, but you get the point. All in all, thanks for tuning in. I will be back tomorrow to talk a little bit about doing those layers in regards to your own overlays and seeing if we can actually filter those together. I don't know. We'll figure it out. Anyway, I guess that's it. And thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye.